Here are some of my favorite last-minute do-it-yourself entertainment tips.
This is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network. Welcome to the Vintage Homeschool Moms Show. Your host, Felice Gerwitz, is an author, a publisher, and your radio show host. She will encourage, educate, and inspire you with answers to your most pressing questions from homeschool, marriage, parenting, and much more. Felice loves to equip moms to live a Christian life because every moment counts. Be sure to visit her website at mediaangels.com. And here's your host, Felice Gerwitz.
Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Felice Gerwitz with another episode of Vintage Homeschool Moms. Today's topic is last-minute do-it-yourself entertaining tips. And no matter what the ages of your children, you are going to be blessed because I've got some really great ideas that will not break the bank. And I'd like to give a shout out to our amazing network sponsor, and that is Sony Pictures. Sony Pictures Animation, along with the firm's films, brings you the movie The Star. That is going to be available in theaters, and of course, afterwards, it will make a great DVD present for your kids. And I'm delighted that it focuses on the nativity, the real Christmas story, the birth of Jesus. So be sure to see the link for the movie trailer in this podcast show notes. And where can you find that? At vintagehomeschoolmoms.com. Look for last-minute DIY entertainment tips. All right, so today I am going to be sharing with you some of my favorites I have entertained for years. And just like most of you, sometimes at the last minute, you're looking around or scrambling for things. So I've kind of set up my entertaining with some things that I can use year after year, so that keeps the cost down. I buy things after season, so I have bought some beautiful fall leaf table coverings that I use year after year, and I purchased them after Thanksgiving, and you can get really good deals. Yes, you have to save them all year, but I am so delighted because now I've gotten some really great deals. I use cloth napkins that always make things look gorgeous and things like that. So I have some other podcasts that I have created on some things that you can make to make your holiday special. So I'm not going to share those with you today because I really want to focus on some last minute things that you can pull together. And kind of the best thing about this is no matter if your kids are young or small or grown up, these ideas work for all ages. All you have to do is add your favorite beverage and you're set to go. And great news, it won't break the bank. So if you have a great last minute entertainment tip that you can share with me, please go to vintagehomeschoolmoms.com, look for episode 238, and leave your posts and your comments with us. Also, share this podcast with others. All you have to do is share it on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and I would really appreciate it if you would go over to iTunes and give me a star rating. You know, some of you may not know that I own the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network, and I am the worst for asking for people to share my podcast and to give us a star rating. And all of the great shows on the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network, we'd love for you to do that as well. All right, so number one, I've got 10 on my list. You know me and lists. I like to share those with you. So number one is, we're talking last minute, so now is not the time to get creative. Use tried and true recipes. I have to share that my sister-in-law one time called me, and I make this thing called derby pie, and it's super easy to make. You buy a ready-made graham cracker, and you put in, you melt butter, you add sugar, you let it cool, add a teaspoon of My mind just went. Vanilla extract and a cup of chocolate chips, and you can add nuts or whatever. Well, it's like a chocolate sundae, okay? It's nice and hot and chocolatey and gooey, and you just let it set a little bit before you serve it to your guests, and you scoop it and, add a scoop of ice cream, and it's super yummy. And so she was entertaining and asked for the recipe. And not that it's a complicated recipe, but if you don't cook it enough, it can be super gooey that you can't even cut it. And she also called for a cheesecake recipe I have that's very quick and yummy and takes 30 minutes. I'll have to share those with you. I've been looking for a cooking podcast. I need to just add another podcast to my list because I love talking about, how you can make these really yummy, easy recipes. And we're like super picky about our food. But anyway, I was just like, how can you do this when you haven't tried it before? So, it came out fabulously for her, so I'm really happy. But truthfully, I've had some bombs that I've made as recipes, and so that's my first bit of advice. The second, appetizers are a great asset for early comers. I mean, I have people that arrive an hour, 2 hours early to like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Some just want to hang out that are in town. Others are helping, but everybody gets hungry, right? As that turkey's cooking and you're smelling it, everybody's starving. So one of the things I do, and I do a lot of this ahead of time, I do not like to cook and bake and everything the day of. I know some of you, don't have any choice and do, but I get as much done as I can, and even mashed potatoes, I know. What I do with the mashed potatoes is I take them out and they get to room temperature or close to, and then I put them in the oven and bake it and just stir it, and they come out yummy. But I just like to get done as much as I can. So appetizers are things like cheese cubes, which, yes, I have them cut up ahead of time and stored. Crackers I put out that day. Bruschetta is delicious. You don't have to have toasted baguettes. In fact, you can buy some of them that are really crispy and work well. But it's like a family favorite. Hummus or salsa or both, and pita chips, again, super yummy. Fresh fruits, I like to get creative with that, and all I do is I just stick them on toothpicks. And the little kids love helping. I make them wash their hands, of course, and we just and then it's already something they can just pick up. Along those lines, you can also do that with salad. You can get a skewer and put a cucumber or green or black olives, yellow or red peppers to make them festive, cherry tomatoes, and cubes of your favorite cheese. You can drizzle it with balsamic vinegar or leave them plain. You can even stick some lettuce on there, and you can just have that salad on a stick. And it's just easy for people to grab and put on their plates. Other favorites are spinach dip. One year I was just on overload, and I ended up just going to Panera's and buying a round bread, like they use those bread bowls for soup. And, and I've got ground flour that I can use. It's in my freezer. I just didn't have time, and it was okay. So if you're buying some last minute things, don't stress, because it's just easier. Again, another year, I was in a super hurry, and I ended up buying organic mashed potatoes at one of our local warehouses. My son said they were the best mashed potatoes he'd ever had, which made me feel a little bit guilty. So I ended up having to tell him. My husband always laughs that I'm so transparent. Pretty much what you see is what you get with me. So I did have to admit to him that they were, and he's like, "Mom, why bother, making them?" Okay, thanks, son. But again, I was in a hurry. I have bought appetizers, frozen appetizers, and I will tell you, those are hit or miss, even if you buy the same brand. So I tend to stay away from like the puff pastry appetizers. Those were not a hit in my family. Maybe they are with yours, and you have a particular brand you like, go ahead and leave me a note on the post here. But those are just a couple of the things that work really, really well. Another is fresh flowers. Every holiday, I've done everything where I'm on a budget, so I'm going to reuse some, not authentic. What's the word I'm looking for? Artificial. Thank you. Artificial flowers. And I will use those year after year for decorations, like around the house. But I love fresh flowers. You don't have to buy a lot. I try to buy like all of the same thing. I will either buy, like for example, daisies that are all one color and get baby's breath or some greenery. We don't live in a place where I can just go outside and get greenery. I love people who can just, go pick some ferns and everything looks beautiful. So I have to buy the fillers, but I found at our high-end grocery store, they will have bunches like 3 for $10. And that goes such a long way. I don't buy a lot of food there, but just for things like that, it's amazing. I can buy baby's breath and that just goes forever. And so you can buy, like a small bunch of different kinds of flowers. And then what I do is I don't keep them long. I cut them down short. I know those beautiful long stems, but I cut them down short and I stick them in small little vases, and I can put them on the tables where people won't knock them down or they won't be in the way. And always add candles. I love that. I just add candles, and I got those again at a like a Joann Fabric or a Michael's or one of those stores after bridal season. And I bought different colors. I have whites, I have pale yellow. And my pale yellows, you wouldn't think they would go even at Christmas time, but they do. I just put greenery around them. So that's another great thing. When we bring our Christmas tree home, I try to save as many of the branches as I can when they're cutting it to fit. Our ceilings, we have high ceilings, but sometimes we put our tree in the corner and we have to cut it to fit. So those are just some ideas for you. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to share with you a few more things that you can do last minute to keep your guests amazed. They're going to think that you worked at this for hours. We'll be right back.
Affirm Films and Sony Pictures Animation present The Star, the fully animated story of the first Christmas told through a whole new set of eyes. Bo the donkey and his stable of animal friends follow the star to become some unlikely heroes.
That light, that's the star. This is where it's been leading me.
What's his name?
His name is Jesus.
The Star, now playing. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. More information is available at thestarmovie.com.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is Felice Gerwitz with an episode of Vintage Homeschool Moms. Today I'm talking to you about last-minute entertainment tips. You can find the show notes on vintagehomeschoolmoms.com, episode 238, last-minute DIY entertainment tips. All right, so where are we? Music. And I'm not going in order. On the website, you'll see it in a different order. Actually, music is number 4, and I've been jumping around. So I get excited about this, can you tell? So, okay, music. So you can do the Holiday Channel if you get cable. They have a Yule log on TV. You can have that on in the background. I never have, but my daughter's mother-in-law does, and she has one of these giganto TVs, and you feel like you're sitting in front of the fireplace when you're watching it, so it's really cool, and I heard they're going to do that for Thanksgiving as well. Or you can have your kids make up a holiday mix, or you can do it yourself and just play this in the background, and of course, music always makes things festive. You know you're a homeschool mommy when my next one is activities for kids, whether it's an ornament they can make and stick together, or popsicle stick pilgrims, or a scavenger hunt that keeps them running in outdoors if possible. You can do that. Prizes are super inexpensive. I keep on hand at all times glow sticks. This is something the kids never get tired of, and I usually give them when they're leaving the house because it's either dark or it's getting dark, and they absolutely love them. And my daughter loves them because she can throw them away. It's not something that's going to be, a little toy she has to pick up or have them pick up. You can get these in bulk to keep on hand at any party store. I look for them on sale, and they are just awesome. But, just look for little activities. I mean, even coloring pages for the kids. You can get one coloring book and a bunch of crayons. I mean, there are so many things that are really inexpensive and fun to keep on hand. And when the kids get a little bit loud or rowdy, you can say, hey, we've got this craft, and just, put someone in charge of that. Candles I mentioned, fondue. I don't know if you love fondue as much as I do. I'm not a big fan of cheese fondue if it has wine in it, but there are some delicious cheese fondues you can make ahead of time and then just heat those up, and then you can use it for appetizers. I am a big fan of chocolate fondue for desserts, and that's always fun. You can have fresh fruits like pineapple or strawberries cut up ahead of time, and chunks of pound cake, things like that. For the little kids, what I do with the cheese fondue is I have them put their stuff on a plate, and then we drizzle it over it and give them little toothpicks to eat with, because otherwise we're digging stuff out of the fondue. And I used to have one of those chocolate fountains. They were the biggest pain in the neck to clean, and they never seemed to work really well. So I don't know if you have one that works. Again, share that brand with me, but I think mine was not that expensive, and it just didn't work. And the chocolate didn't taste as good as just melted, delicious chocolate with a little bit of cream in it. I make my desserts ahead of time. So, for example, I make my pumpkin pie mix ahead of time. I do use fresh pumpkins. But when it's ready to go, I just take it out. I let it thaw on the counter, and then I can put my pies together in no time. You do need to cut back on the liquids if you freeze your pumpkin. I always do anyway, but and I use like a heavy cream instead of the condensed milk, which makes the pumpkin pie super yummy. The other thing I did with pies is I started making smaller ones, because we had so much dessert. And even though I tell people, each person has something they bring, not to bring so many desserts, they do. So I started making smaller pies, and I love it because each pie will maybe serve 4 people or 6 tiny pieces. If you just how you want a piece of pumpkin and a piece of something else, cheesecake or whatever. And then I don't have all this left over. So that is awesome. The other thing is ice cream. I scoop ice cream balls ahead of time. All of this, I just take a cookie sheet, a piece of wax paper, scoop the ice cream, put it on the wax paper, throw it in the freezer, let it get hard, and then just put it in a baggie. And that is awesome, because then when you're ready, you just take that out of a baggie. You can even put that in a ice bucket. We have a bunch of ice buckets, and and then just serve it from there. They get a little squishy sometimes if they're sitting out when you're serving, but at least you're not trying to scoop ice cream and all the other desserts. And then cookie dough, I make it ahead of time. I either keep it in the refrigerator. I do have my family trained not to eat it. We never ate cookie dough growing up. My kids never did. I know for those of you listening going, are you kidding me? It's better raw than cooked. I believe it's better cooked than raw. So if you can't do that, you may need to freeze yours. But again, you can scoop it. I use a little mini ice cream scoop, and I scoop my cookies, freeze the dough. When you're ready, you just take it out, put it on a cookie sheet. When it thaws out, throw it in the oven, and that is delicious. Dipped strawberries make everything elegant. I serve it on a glass platter, and they are a hit. I couldn't believe it. We were somewhere, and I saw one dipped strawberry that had, dark chocolate, and it was just drizzled with white chocolate for $2.50 a piece and up. So I can't believe they charge that much money when you can get, well, I'm in Florida, but like a pack of organic strawberries might be $4, and you can dip them and they're delicious. So it makes any party festive, and the kids and the adults love them. And my 10th tip for you, and don't be shocked, for those of you that are really into ecology, you're not going to like this one, but I do disposable plates. If my rule of thumb is if I have 25 or more people, because I have 20 really nice plates, and so that's my rule of thumb. I'm not going to go buy more plates or mismatch or I do have a set of plates for the little kids, but in fact, I want to have this lady on because they're character traits and they're really awesome, but I need to track her down. I met her at a homeschool conference. So if you can remember her name, share that with me. But I bought a set of 20 of those as well because we have a lot of little ones. And so if there are that many people, I buy the heavy duty disposable plates and then we just go around, collect them and get rid of them. And that is such a blessing because you can spend more time with your guests. So that's it. Those are my do-it-yourself entertainment tips. If you have any that you want to share with us, please head over to vintagehomeschoolmoms.com and look for this episode. And please leave your comments and responses there, as well as sharing this podcast and going over to iTunes and give me a star rating. And if you want to know how I remembered to say all that, I wrote it in my show notes. Otherwise, I would have forgotten. Listen, guys, God bless. Take care, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Homeschool Mom Show. Visit Felice at MediaAngels.com and TheVintageHomeschoolMoms.com. Vintage Homeschool Moms is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network.